We're live. Welcome back. Today we're going over film from athletes that have been submitted to me, subscribers through the school community. I'll show you here. Here we go. So this is a school. This is where you submit your film. We're going over film today from these people. So we're going to start with actually, looks like Keith and Ricky are on. We'll start with Keith. Keith came. Let's see. So Keith says he's a master's athlete and his block starts are his weak spot, finding it very difficult to improve. He's a lot more comfortable with 3-point starts compared to blocks, so I shared my block start checklist. I mentioned that there's going to be some pressure on your arms and hands if you use this method. Most important part is keep your hips in good position. Keith gave it a try, came back, says, I'm not getting full pressure on the back pedal. Starts felt better, especially my arms, but didn't feel totally stuck to the back pedal. So Keith shared this footage with us that we're going to review right now. Let me pull up the film. Boom. Okay, so this is Keith's first video that he shared. This was after watching the block start checklist. So hips come straight up. That's excellent. Shifts back just a little bit to relieve the pressure off the fingertips. That's totally understandable. Boom. So that was Keith's initial film. We have two more most recent things that he sent us. But let's see what happened after that for Keith was he says after watching the video, it feels a lot more pressure on the blocks by pushing from hand. So I gave him some advice as to how he puts his arms on the ground and he's active in pushing the ground away from him and trying to apply the pressure from the top end as well as his legs to then meet at his hips. But his hands, he felt it more on his fingers. So the tips that I gave him is, yes, your fingers will hurt, but you will get used to it. For my master's clients in particular, I've noticed that it takes them a little bit longer to get used to the hand motion, right? When you're young, you're much more adaptable. You begin to develop in a way that helps you support the blocks on your hands. But when you're masters, you don't quite get into rhythm as quickly as far as your hands are concerned. That's one of the limiting factors I've seen for my master's athletes actually, and for my high school collegiate athletes that try this style of block start. So I let him relieve a little bit of the pressure on his hands. I gave him some tips there. Keep your shoulders slightly behind your hands. Now, this is not something I would tell my other athletes, but for Keith in particular, I let him know that it's okay. And we're just experimenting. And then here's the piece. Engage the ground actively, flowing through your fingers, hands, wrist, elbows, triceps, and shoulders. So you want to be completely locked, not locked elbows wise. You want your elbows a little bit bent, but you want to be pushing like a push-up with your upper body. And so then felt big improvement, Keith says. So let's watch the big improvement that he was able to achieve. Okay, so here goes one of the days Keith was able to figure it out. Looks like a beautiful day and a beautiful track, right? He's got his yellow timing cone there. So maybe he was able to get some good times. Okay, so you see him adjusting to get everything that I asked him to do, which is to be powerful, pushing this way, and with his legs pushing this way, so that we get a nice power focal point of the hips, because the hips is really what's going to drive you forward. Track is, I mean, so many of sports are about your hips, right? Yo, what's up, Timothy Buckman? How's it going, bro? So he's able to push out a little bit better there, but he's still falling a little bit, it looks like. Okay. Now let's pay attention to Keith's eyes. They're straight down, right? And what I would like Keith to do is to look 10 meters in front of him. This will help correct his body position a bit, right? It's going to help his body position. It's going to help him explode out of the blocks a bit better. Look where you want to go. Don't look where you are. A mistake that I see a lot of my athletes make, looking straight down. And then we have the most recent share from Keith. Good. So one of the other tips I gave him is, so I teach to put both knees down, right? And what you're going to see when he does that is that his hips shift forward. And that's what we want. But I allowed him to pick up that front knee, which I allow some of my athletes to do, as long as the hips don't sit back. And they come back a little bit, but they're actually in a good position, right? We want to be straight up and down there, which he is. Nice flat back here. Also very good. Comes up to set. Now this is what I love to see, Keith. Nice job. The stretch on that calf, okay? This shin at 45, right? I'm a big fan of these angles here. Oops. The angle of the back leg. Okay. It's a bad little angle thing that I have there, but that's okay. We want to move that up there. We want to move this down here. There we go. That's a nice 145 angle right there. Let's see if I can do it on this leg. There we go. Nope, that goes up here. This goes down there. That goes up there. Ah, there we go. A nice 90 degrees on that front leg. Finally, I was able to figure it out, huh? Now, Keith, what we have to work on is that movement there, right? So you want to lower your hips a little bit to then push. So what I would tell you is maybe don't put your hips so high initially, and possibly that, I know you moved the back block back once, but you might want to move it forward just a bit, maybe. But that's a better angle out of the blocks than what you did previously. So I'm a fan of that. Nice job, Keith. Who else we got? Okay, so we're back here in our school. We have Keith says, thanks so much. I'm headed to run for the European Masters indoor next week. So hoping my blocks will get me through the rounds. Good luck, Keith. Just remember, block starts, as great as they are, the more important piece is being in a good sprinting position when you get to the 10-meter mark, the 20-meter mark, and transitioning. So focus on that as well. And then we have Ricky. Now, Ricky hit me up looking for some help on how to accelerate. So he shared a bunch of videos with me that we're going to go over right now, and then we will actually get into acceleration, max acceleration to max speed, because a lot of people seem to need help with that. And I have an interesting concept that I'd like to discuss that's not often discussed. Let's see. So Ricky was able to share this video with me. Actually, this isn't the one that I wanted to see. Where are you? Here we go. Okay, so there's Ricky in lane 2. We're going to look at this 100 and see how well he's able to come out of the drive phase, stand up tall, and re-accelerate, and what might be holding Ricky back from doing that. So a nice drive phase for Ricky. One note is watch this first step here. He's going to step out to the side. Ricky, that step needs to be forward, not out to the side. But nonetheless, you have a decent drive phase. Okay. You stay driven a bit longer than all your competitors. That's excellent. Now, when it comes to the upright speed and the inability to re-accelerate to max speed, so just a little tense here, and look at this overstride. So good. Boom. That leg that comes out like this. I'm looking at this leg in particular. That's a little bit of an overstride. So that's going to actually end up being a braking motion for you, Ricky, and make it really challenging for you to hit max speed. The left leg comes through a bit better. It doesn't quite hang out there as long. But that right leg, watch, look, it comes fully extended and strikes underneath you. I think possibly this guy here next to you put a little pressure on you, maybe felt like you had to really reach out there to stay with him, but you just get a little bit outside of your cycle, I would say. And as a result, hit out in front of you, right? This guy's kind of blocking our view there, but let's see if we can get one here. Okay, really hit out in front of you. Hips back here, foot up here. That's going to be a break. And that's why you're finding it challenging to hit max speed. Now, here's what's interesting. Here's a different race from Ricky. Here he is. Okay. That was better step forward, but look at how you cycle off of the block here with that back foot. Okay, good push. You cycle up right away. You begin your cycles so you don't have low heel recovery. Ricky, the don't get left behind blocks drive phase acceleration course in Speedlab might help you with the low heel recovery, learn how to do it. But still, you know, decent drive phase. Now, these numbers I'm guessing are probably 10 meters down the track, 20 meters down the track. Now you're coming up and re-accelerating. That's very good. Now let's watch the difference of this right leg as it comes through here and steps down to attack the track and pull that foot back under your hips. Now, these are good mechanics. And notice there's no one next to you. So you're running a bit more free. You're running a bit more relaxed without the pressure of having to keep off that guy that was next to you in the last race that we'd had. But here comes your teammate. Okay, that's good stepping down onto the track, applying the force, staying relaxed for you. Okay. And then another one of what Ricky shared was that his flying drills actually look good, but he can't replicate that inside of the race. So let's see. Okay, so that's a fly for Ricky. What I noticed here is that look how tall you are, Ricky. As that leg comes through, you step down. Look at how tall you remain. This is not what I saw from that first race that we went over. Much more tall here, and as you grow, as you work to accelerate to your max in speed, you should grow. And this one looks like you grew. So that's another tip for you there, Ricky. Now, briefly, we're going over, if you want to improve your max acceleration, these are the drills that you should be doing. So before we even work into our flies with the athlete that I coach, we're going to get in speed bounds. So these are called speed bounds. My athlete sprints to 20, speed bounds to 50. That was the first rep. So she's just getting comfortable with that. Now, what does this help? Right? The acceleration to max speed is about pushing the track behind you. I tell my athletes, you want to spend 0.0001 second longer pushing when you're working to accelerate to max speed. So you've come out of drive phase, you've transitioned to be up tall. Once you have gotten the height, remember, I say if I'm 6 feet, my acceleration to max speed, I should be operating as though I'm 6'2". I should be tall and attacking. And then inside of that, I want to begin push, 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 push. That's the pattern that I want to have. So these speed bounds, before you get into things like flying 30s, flying 10s, these speed bounds are great to prime your brain to teach you how to push. Okay, so that's rep 1 for my athlete. Before we watch her flying, we did flying 60s. She's 400, so we did flying 60s. Very nice. This also teaches you to remain stiff. So watch as this leg hits the ground. You don't want any collapse there. You want to remain stiff. She's got a little smile because I think she feels like she did it wrong. But those are good speed bounds by her. And let's compare to my speed bounds. Okay, this is me. I'm going to sprint to 10 just because I'm demonstrating for my athlete. And then I'm going to get into my speed bounds. Very important is this angle, 90 degrees. I don't want my heel tucked back behind my butt. And that I'm pushing off that back leg. Like that. Okay. So the difference between the speed bounds and normal bounds is normal bounds, I want to prioritize my time in the air. Speed bounds, I want to prioritize ground reaction time. I want to be quick off the ground. So I'm going to be quicker off the ground than I otherwise would be on normal bounds in order to maintain that speed that I've generated with the buildup that I did. And when I do my speed bounds, 2 notes. First, I want to remain tall, right? So I grow as the motion continues. Also, I want to feel the acceleration. I shouldn't feel myself slowing down. I should feel myself accelerate, 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 accelerate. You can see it visibly how my velocity ends up going faster. Now let's watch to see if my athlete is able to maintain her acceleration through the movement of the speed bound. So she should be accelerating, 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 accelerate, accelerate. So she's just kind of maintaining the same speed, but although the bounds look good, her forward velocity doesn't change much. There we go. That's a bit better. That doesn't look as clean, but it looked like her forward velocity changed. And then from there, we move on to flying 60s. So let's watch some of her flying 60s to see how well it translates or does not translate. Good. So we have we took 20 meters to sprint up to this orange cone, right? Started back here, 20 meters behind. So in between this orange cone and this green cone is the acceleration zone. So it's very simple. You know, can you visibly see acceleration in between the cones, even though my instructions were to approach this first cone at 95% max speed? Are you able to see the acceleration, and is the athlete able to feel the acceleration? You should feel the acceleration when you go for max speed. So let's see if we can see it. So you don't really see any acceleration, although the mechanics looked okay. I will say that we did this drill yesterday. I wish I filmed them. She looked amazing. The acceleration was there. The turnover was there. The velocity change was there. So not quite. I don't see her growing through the motion, and I don't visibly see the acceleration. Let's work to one of the later reps and see as the reps continued if she was able to achieve what I'm looking for. Good. Be tall. She's tall. She's growing. Still a little bit slow with the turnover. So in this case, she prioritized her stride length a bit too much and didn't quite focus on turnover. There wasn't that chain reaction that I speak about where the result of pushing the ground is getting tall, is the front side mechanics, and is the growing through the motion and accelerating. Let's see if she is able to do it on this one. See, that one was a little bit, she was just figuring it out inside of the rep. So all of this is experimentation, and you've got to try certain things. And so inside of the rep, she gets long. That's a breaking left foot. And then she actually ends up figuring it out a bit here for about 10 meters. She's able to successfully accelerate through the zone, and then she falls off a little bit. But that's how it works. You end up with 10 good meters, and then after that you end up with 12 good meters, and then 15, and then 20, and then you are able to eventually grow and accelerate all the way through the zone. Okay. Let's see. So, well, we also have to cover Davi here. So Davi actually ended up getting a new PB in the 100. Track meet recently ran the 100 in 11:54, which is a new PB. I hadn't run it in a year. Also the 200. So let's go over those from Davi. Where are those, Davi? I know I have them. Oh, I see it. No, it's 16. There we go. Okay, so this is Davi's 100. Let's figure out what lane he's in. I think that's him in the middle of the track, or is it the... Oh, no, that's him on the inside. Okay. So there's Davi. Nice start. Let's watch that back. Nice start. Nice. Quick to the ground. Low heel recovery. Nice push, 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 push. Let's see if we can see any acceleration through the zone like Davi. So he stands up. Does he become tall and accelerate? Looks like, well, a little hard to see. Looks like you stop getting tall when you stand up to go. You do it for a second, and then it looks like you break down, and the people next to you are able to separate themselves by standing up tall and accelerating. Now this is going to be his 200. I think he's on the outside lane. Yeah, so he's all the way out here. So Davi's all the way out there. Let's watch this 200. Now the 200 is, oh, nice separation. That's very good, except separation from the guy on the inside of you. Okay, as soon as the gun goes off, right? Again, great start. So that's the distance between them at the start. Look how much that distance has grown. Okay, that's a great way to start your 200. Push on the turn. Now, Davi, right here is where you want to breathe in deep and come off the turn. You exhale, get tall again, and reaccelerate, which it looks like you do very well. Push, 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 push. Nice. Leaves the pack behind. Towards the end, you get your turnover going. Very nice 200. Nice job, Davi. Okay, so that is what we have to cover today. Go ahead and click the link if you need your film reviewed. We get frame-by-frame coaching, frame-by-frame film review like I just did for those athletes. And I'll see you next time.